Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. Everyday Bronx. Well, it's a photo collective of an array of different photographers highlighting the beauty of the Bronx. And on March 16th, Everyday Bronx reached their highly anticipated goal of 30,000 followers on their Instagram page. That's pretty impressive, right? So here now to share more about the page and purpose, we welcome photographer and curator of Everyday Bronx, Raina Santos, and curator Edgar Santana. Hello and welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome and thank you for this amazing work that you're doing highlighting our borough. Beauty of the Bronx, it's a matter of opinion, a matter of perspective, and the title itself, Everyday Bronx, loans itself to saying, you know what, we're going to have conversations through visuals about the topics that people don't capture. So whose idea was it to even create the Everyday Bronx page?
Well, Everyday Bronx is one of the official everyday projects on Instagram, and it started as a summer program for kids at the Bronx Documentary Center, and later on it was such an interesting idea that I was lucky enough to be able to take it over, and in that be able to create a new way of being able to see things that have been going on in the Bronx forever. So it's part of the Everyday Bronx everyday projects, and we are actually the smallest geographical everyday because we're only representing a borough instead of a continent or an entire country. So for us to hit 30,000 was a really huge deal.
So how long ago was this created?
October 2014.
Not bad. Not
Not bad
bad,
at all,
right?
right?
No, well, and also I did read about the other everyday projects and how altogether you guys are in the millions. So that's also an interesting topic that I'd like to discuss after hearing a little bit from you.
Sure. I was asked to be part of the team from Raina about almost 2 years ago. And, obviously as Bronxites, we know that our borough is extremely underrated. We always have that stigma of being a ghetto. We want to show, documentary style photography and also show that, an everyday street scene that you may see every day may not necessarily be photogenic, but we want to show that there's beauty in the Bronx everywhere. The Bronx is just not a zoo. The Bronx is just not a baseball team. The Bronx is not just a garden. The Bronx is beautiful, and we want to be able to show that to our followers.
So how do you decide what images are posted on your Instagram page? Because I noticed that there were various photographers that I'm familiar with, because I appreciate also the fact that their watermarks are on it. So it's kind of like regular photos, and then there's professional photographer photos. So I'm just curious, do you decide, this week we're going to talk, focus on this particular topic, and we're going to use these images? How do you do that?
Well, we definitely have a philosophy of the kind of photos that we want to include. 95% of our photos are specifically from our followers. We do have some constant contributors that we use their work, and maybe some professional photographers. But most of our photos and our story of the Bronx is being told by our followers and the people that actually live here and are able to photograph their own lives. We have a team of 4. We also have John Santiago and Cynthia Ciccone, and so basically we split the days, but we highly curate. We are very specific in what kind of photos we want to show and the kind of level of art and beauty from the Bronx. We also do, we have different themes. We do artist spotlights. We also have long-term projects that we have done, like Casitas del Sur, where we focus on community gardens and casitas in the South Bronx. We also have Bronx Family History, which we just finished on Wednesday. And
I'm looking at some of the images.
So
here
this
as
is
you're-
the
as
our
you're
casita.
speaking, and this is the casita?
Yeah.
This is some of our Casitas del Sur project. We focused on 13 casitas in the South Bronx, and they're all over the Bronx and obviously, in parts of Manhattan. And we wanted to really talk about the incredible level of tradition that casitas have. These are places that are handed down through families. And then also we did a project last summer called Parties in the Park, because we thought it was wonderful to highlight how creative we are with our public spaces and how we celebrate different events. And this was actually for 4th of July.
So I noticed that these images have different hashtags. So do you switch the hashtags, or how do you choose? How do you even, I guess, do the outreach for selecting these photos?
Well, we try to take over Instagram with all positive Bronx hashtags. So you'll see Bronx family, Bronx children, Bronx sports, things like that. We want to make sure that we really take over all of the Bronx hashtags and show when somebody clicks on a hashtag on Instagram, they see all of our photos. When it comes to projects, yeah, we come up with our own hashtags and we continuously use them. Currently, we're using the Bronx family history, which is very, very successful now. You know, when we first started, there was only a few photos, and now there's over 200 photos that people have used the hashtag showing vintage Bronx pictures, and it's been a beautiful thing to show, you know, people's families in the 70s, 80s, and you know, today we'll be posting one from the 1920s. So
Hey, what are we looking at here? Oh my goodness, look at this.
And these
this
are-
is great.
And our general posting, we do 3 photos a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
And so we have
That's beautiful.
Bronxites telling their own story. That's a beautiful sunset.
And that's from
um,
just somebody randomly following you on Instagram and submitting it. Oh,
and
maybe I can leave that.
hashtagging Everyday Bronx.
Everyday Bronx.
This
Hashtag
photo
Everyday
is
Bronx.
by one of our team members, John Santiago, and was featured on Time Magazine.
Nice. Nice. And that's one of the curators.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
he's one of the curators.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And I'm really excited that we're sharing it with you guys. And we hope that you guys are going to start hashtagging Everyday Bronx. So, again, let's just going back to the themes. Do you do themes that you said you do daily posts for about 2 to 3, right?
Yeah, we do 3 posts a day, 7 days a week. And also we do follow Fridays. That means that we specifically deal with people that are hashtagging Everyday Bronx, that use the Everyday Bronx hashtag. And we also have artist spotlights. We have special projects. In this upcoming year, we're actually going to be having a print swap with our followers. So we're going to have a meetup, and we're going to exchange, you know, photos of the Bronx that we have taken. Also, we're going to be having an exhibition for, you know, the photos that we do feature on our feed. And more importantly, we're going to be doing 2 long-term projects. One is called Bronx Small Businesses and Bronx Ownership, and dealing with a lot of gentrification that's happening right now in the Bronx.
This is wonderful. You're inspiring novice photographers, and who knows, you know, you may inspire them to become professional photographers. That's lovely. And Raina, you know, you're doing all this wonderful stuff with the Bronx Women's Collective and just with photography. And so I just wonder, where do you see this going, this component going?
Well, what I want to do most importantly is to make photography accessible for everyone. That you don't need to have a very, very expensive camera to be able to share what you see. And you know, if you have a cell phone, you have a camera, if you hashtag Everyday Bronx, we look at every single photo. And basically our goal is to do corrective history and to really create a certain level of self-esteem, you know, and to empower people that live here and to see the beauty that is already and has always surrounded us.
And Edgar, are you a photographer?
I'm a novice. I'm a novice. I have my own personal feed, and I also created the Cars of the Bronx hashtag and feed. Cars in the Bronx are something that, you know, a lot of people sometimes overlook. It could be a classic car, but junked. I see beauty in that. So I created that, and it's really taken off. So you know, it's something fun. I want to just continue to show the positivity within the borough. 99% of my feed is Bronx, and again, I want to be able to show that beauty that not only people that live in the Bronx, but people that live outside the Bronx can see.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun.
It's important, yeah.
Yeah.
We're overcoming that stigma that
Yeah.
was, because
That's
this
right.
is the new Bronx, as the Bronx
It sure
Borough
is.
President Ruben Diaz Jr. says. Thank you so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And once again, it's hashtag Bronx Everyday, right?
Everyday Bronx.
Everyday Bronx.
Yeah.
It's hashtag Everyday Bronx. So
That's
it's
right.
Everyday before Bronx.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Raina. Thank you, Edgar.
Thank
and you
you.
guys, be sure to follow Everyday Bronx on Instagram at Everyday Bronx. And of course, take images. You know, we're highlighting the beauty of this borough in whatever form you choose to share it. Hashtag Everyday Bronx. It's important for us to create our own history. So if you have a camera and a cell phone, take a picture and hashtag Everyday Bronx. Okay? So we're